Hello, 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 everybody. Let me unmute all of that. Welcome to the Order of Dusk. As you can kind of see from our title, this is not episode 3. We've had one of our members take rather severely ill, so they cannot make it today. But rather than canceling, we have brought you Sasha Alloway and Set, and we're going to talk with them a little bit. We're going to get to know them a little bit more, figure out some of their history and their background. If you guys have any questions for them, feel free to type them into the chat box. We will get to those questions and we will have them answer them. We are going to be starting with Sasha Alloway, and then we will be moving on to Set later this evening. And then we will finish up by letting you know exactly what happened in that dream Sasha had towards the end of our last session. So that'll be all sorts of fun, and you should definitely look forward to it. But yeah, thanks again for stopping in, and I'm gonna get back into the chat so we can join the group. Hello, hello, you guys are live. Say hello to our audience.
Hello.
Hello.
I think we got him with food in his mouth.
Yeah.
So, I
Was that
mentioned...
a rapper?
Yes.
Because it almost sounded like you played like an applause sound effect.
No, I did not play an applause sound effect. Yes, it was a rapper. Look, it's dinner time, okay? So yeah, I will be asking a couple of questions and getting you guys to expand a bit more on your characters. You can answer in character or out of character if you want. So in character could be fun. I've let the audience know that they can also ask questions which will be answered, and you can obviously ask each other questions as well. We'll be starting with Sasha and moving on to Set, so that we're not jumping back and forth and everything. Does that sound okay to you guys?
Yeah.
By me.
Alrighty then. In that case, Sasha, why don't you tell us a little bit about where you grew up?
I was basically. I haven't really nailed down if I was in the camp, if I was born in the camp or if I was born elsewhere. But as long as Sasha's memory is, she lived in a war camp in Zixatia, or a war camp from Zixatia. Her father was one of the engineers. He was a toy maker before, and so he had the know-how of how to put things together, how to make things work, especially with magic. It's where Sasha got a lot of her talents. And so she grew up in that war camp with her parents and her elder brother. She lost her father fairly early on, and so it was just her mother, and her brother. And as time wore on, the things that happen in a war camp happen, like losing, so like illnesses were running through, and her mother died to one of them. And her brother was also sort of swept into the Corps of Engineers for the camp. He wasn't nearly as skilled as their father was, so he was working on smaller things.
Yeah.
But he was trying to protect her for a lot of the time, and making sure people didn't realize that Sasha was just as talented as her father.
Yeah. But did that work entirely, or was she dragged into things regardless?
No, it did work, because nobody realized how talented she was. And it helped that she didn't really associate with a lot of people outside of her family. That was one thing that her mother impressed on her early on, is don't associate with people that are probably going to die. And her mother basically made that out to be anyone who is a soldier.
Okay.
And anyone who associates really closely with soldiers is going to die. So she spent a lot of time on her own.
Okay. So, random question because of the thing you just brought up. Is there anyone in our current party that Sasha has pegged, you're probably going to die? Or has she left that behind her on the battlefield?
Finley, a little bit. No offense, he's a good fighter. But Sasha does have that little, you're going to be the one that gets in trouble the most.
I'm so glad it's not me.
You're the one she can definitely see cutting and running.
That's fair.
Like, or just getting bored and leaving, wandering away.
Also fair.
Okay. Okay, that's great. All right. So continuing on, what are Sasha's um uh first thoughts on the rest of the party then? I mean, we know how you feel about Finley. He's apparently going to be the one to die. Set's going to cut and run or just get bored and leave. What about Seth? I mean, your character kind of knows Seth already, but how does your character view Seth?
Seth is capable of taking care of himself. He
Okay.
also keeps more to himself. So if Sasha has to be concerned about Seth, she has to be concerned about herself as well.
Okay. Okay. What about huh?
No, go ahead.
No, if you wanted to expand on that, expand on it.
No, it wasn't. It
Okay.
wasn't expanding on.
Okay. What about Baldwin?
He's one of those that might be in the going to die
Mm-hmm.
category just a little
Okay.
bit
Okay.
because, well, he voluntarily put himself as the center of attention,
Mm-hmm.
and so we couldn't talk about that a whole lot in the banquet hall, obviously.
Yeah.
So there's a little bit of, oh goodness me, he's going to laying low. We're supposed to lay low.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
But that being said, he did manage it. He managed it very well.
He did. Yeah. Okay. All right. That leaves us with Fina,
Fina
the
seems
small
like a
person.
very Fina seems like a capable person.
Uh-huh. Okay.
She does seem like one of the people who's probably a little bit more likely to start running if things get really, really bad. But she also seems dependable.
Okay. So the
And
cut
this-
and run dependable type?
Yeah. Like I said, if things get really, really bad.
Mm-hmm. Okay. You were saying something, Kevin?
Oh, I just mentioned little one.
Ah. Yes. Okay. All right. So Sasha has not been able to really interact much with Roger or Anna yet, but let's go ahead and get her opinion on Roger.
Roger is... Honestly, she's a little bit worried about him and those comments about the glad you got your color back.
Ah, that makes sense. That makes sense.
Because he seemed like he was being completely honest with that, and she has no idea what he means.
That makes sense. Because Sasha's never seen herself untransformed, as it were.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's interesting, but not someone she would typically associate with. The fact that he is so... we shouldn't be... no subterfuge about this. We should be direct, and I will fight the Marquis.
Mm-hmm.
She's like, you run towards danger. I don't want to be next to you. You'll probably try to drag me along.
Okay, and Sasha's very much the type who likes to hide in the shadows.
Yes.
Okay.
Me too.
Okay, Set creates his own shadows to hide in.
very clearly, and nobody else can see through them.
All right,
Just
that
explain that to him, please.
someone needs to.
Yeah.
All right, that leaves us with Anna, who again you weren't able to interact much with, but first impressions.
I didn't like Rogarb's attitude towards her. The once he found out what she
Yeah.
the sort of god she followed and the sort of relationship she has to violence and
Yeah.
everything. Because Sasha's very live and let live.
Mhm.
Because, well, growing up the way she did, it's like, I'm not going to police your belief structures because they are what they are.
Mhm.
May not follow them, but whatever.
Okay.
And she thinks Anna is very capable because she managed to be in the Marquis's house and to do the things she did for us without getting herself caught, as far as we know now. Really hoping she didn't get caught in the interim.
Well, I suppose we'll find out next session.
Yeah.
Okay.
But because she doesn't fight, Sasha knows that this is going to be someone to make sure they're not targeted.
Mhm.
And so, especially since she does the nice healing.
She does do the nice healing. Okay. I'm going to give a quick reiteration for the new viewers I see that we have. We're doing a quick question and answer segment basically with Sasha Alloway and Set, who are two characters in our Order of Dusk campaign. I have a few questions lined up, though they're ever expanding, and I am gladly taking questions from any of the viewers who have something they want to know or ask or throw out there. Um, we're currently questioning Sasha a variety of things, and she's made some very interesting statements, which will be amusing later on. And we will be questioning Set in a little bit. And of course, Kevin, you are welcome to ask questions of your own if you have one that crops up.
Oh, I will make sure.
Okay. Okay. Um. All right. Moving on then. So you explained to us a little bit about some of your life in the war camp during the war, 10ish years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Um. But other than that, what would you say some of your more defining moments are? Like what made Sasha who she is today?
Um, well, this was still back in the war camp, but
Mhm.
being a courier. Because in order to, once she lost the last of her family to
Mhm.
the war wasn't over yet. It was still ongoing for the next couple of years.
Mhm.
But she needed a way to support herself. And because if you can't support yourself in the war camp, they're not going to waste the resources on you. And so she basically signed up to be one of the couriers running messages between camps.
Okay.
Um, like, and because she didn't have anyone to speak up for her, that's why she ended up on a lot of the more dangerous missions going between the camps. And all of all of the message running that she did is what made her realize that information is the most important thing to have. That's why she joined up with the Information Guild ultimately,
Mhm.
because she realized you need to know what's going on in order to react to it.
Okay. Okay. Um moving on then. Since you brought up the Information Guild, how did you get involved with the Information Guild?
Well, right out of the war, there was one of the officers came to Sasha and told her that she'd probably do very well within the Information Guild, and they were looking for people.
Mhm.
Um, but one of the things that her brother had told her before he died was, "Don't let them pull you in." And this was an officer telling her this, so she's okay. I'll take that information under advisement, but was booking it out of the town.
Okay.
But that kind of like stuck in the back of her head, especially as she spent the next couple of years
Mhm.
trying to find family because she knew that her father still had family alive um, when he joined up, and she
Mhm.
didn't know what had happened to them.
Mhm.
But she can't find them because it was more of a found family
Yeah.
or like an adopted family that had adopted each other. So she's not sure who or what she's looking for,
Sure.
and
Sure.
or under what names.
Uh-huh. Sure.
Uh, yeah, but a couple after a couple of years of searching, that uh, that thing about the Information Guild and the fact that he was going to leave word with them to um, basically leaving a recommendation with them for her.
Mhm.
She finally decided to go in and see if they would let her do anything because the commission that she had earned from her family and for herself for her own actions during the war um, was running out, and she would need to support herself again.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Needed money. Got a
Yeah,
job.
yeah,
Okay. So you weren't able to find the family your father mentioned then.
no. And
So,
they're
mhm.
really old stories because her father died when she was like 5.
Okay.
So
So
they're half remembered, and she's not sure the names she should be using.
mhm.
Doesn't know any last names for any of them.
Right. Okay. That makes sense. Um so would you say that there's anyone you're particularly close to then, Sasha?
There are a couple of people. There is this blacksmith. He's a dwarf. He just runs a small smithy in the capital,
Mhm.
and she basically asks to use the smithy from time to time, uh, and kind of also like hazes some of his apprentices to make sure that they're actually worth his time.
Okay.
He knows that she does this.
Mhm.
She's not entirely sure if he does or not, but he definitely knows.
Okay. All right.
And there's also this woman who runs a used clothing shop,
Mhm.
and she gets a lot of the clothes, a lot of the costumes that she needs for jobs for the Information Guild from that shop. And that was actually the first person who claimed her as a friend, and kind of like reevaluating. Oh, is this what it means to be close to someone? Because she hasn't been for a long time,
Sure.
and so it's changing how she's thinking about things in relationships because apparently I'm a friend to this person.
Okay.
Do I consider this person a friend? What does a friend mean?
Mhm. Has she figured out what how she would define friendship?
Not entirely, but she's pretty sure that what she feels for both of them is friendship.
Okay. All right. So the last question I have listed for you, unless someone in the chat pops up with another one, is what were your feelings when you heard that the war had ended?
Disbelief.
Mhm.
It had been going on for so long that it was, is it going to end? And just messages messages never stop.
Mhm.
It's like even when people say, "Hey, it's over," there were still things for the couriers to run back and forth with.
Yeah.
Sometimes the message itself was something along the lines of, "Hey, call off the fighting, we're done." It just that can't be right. What do you mean it's over? I
Mhm.
mean, we've all wanted it to be over, but that can't be right.
Okay.
How?
All right. Follow up. What were your thoughts when you heard that the previous emperor had been slaughtered by his son?
oh no, it's going to happen again.
Okay.
It's like, the war is over. Okay, how long?
Mhm.
Because if if the empire is turning over via violence, obviously it's not going to end for very long.
That's fair. That's a fair worry, definitely. Has the current emperor alleviated any of your fears?
Sorry, what?
Has the
Kind of
current
breaking up.
emperor alleviated any of your fears regarding that?
Some of them, but that doesn't mean she's not. That doesn't mean she's going to stop keeping an eye on all of the things. She's working for the Information Guild also to
Mhm.
basically keep her thumb on the how exactly does a war start?
Mhm.
What are the signs that something's going to explode?
Okay, that's fair. Um, so you'd say she's pretty relieved that she hasn't seen those signs necessarily, except where the Order of Dusk is concerned.
Yeah.
All right. So I'm gonna give it a minute to let any of our viewers pop up with a question if they've got one for you. If
Set.
Oh, Seth has a question.
Yeah, Set has a big question.
Okay.
Oh,
Um, Sasha,
yes.
what's all this about a war going on?
The previous emperor wanted land and power and acknowledgement, I think.
What else is?
And the way he decided to go about this was to make his people get it for him.
Ah, so the same reason you are always going to war.
Yes.
Oh, very well then. Carry on.
Oh, I see we got some bots in the channel. That's lovely. Um, thanks, Ty. Hi. Say hi to Ty.
Hi, Ty.
Hello.
Ty's taking care of some bots, viewing silently. Um.
Oh.
All right, but it doesn't look like the chat currently has any questions for you, Sasha. If something pops up, we will circle back, so don't go anywhere.
Okay.
Um, but if that's the case, we're going to go ahead and move on to Set. Say something, Set, so that your eyes light up on my screen.
Something said.
Of course, he would take that literally. All right, so I've got some of the same questions for you, but also some different ones because, well, you're a very different person, aren't you, Set?
Oh, yes, I am. And I also am a little insulted that you called me a person, but I'll let it slide.
Okay? You are a living thing.
Being?
Okay,
You are an entity.
okay, you do like the word being then. Okay. All right. So, Set, why don't you tell us a little bit about where you grew up?
Hmm. I would love to, though it is physically impossible to describe.
Uh-huh.
So the next closest thing I could probably give you is imagine you're standing in a field of flowers, made out of dreams and the screams of the innocent. You grow up on a stream downriver from that.
Okay.
I think that accurately sums up my childhood.
You had a childhood?
Not exactly, but I'm trying to learn what it means too.
Okay. So, if you didn't have a childhood, what did you have?
Creation,
You just were.
a moment where I just thought, and then I was. I ripped a
Mm,
hole through reality.
well, isn't that pleasant? Okay.
I
So,
wouldn't really describe it as pleasant. It was quite violent, I will have you know.
sorry, can you repeat that? It was quite
Non-being.
what?
It was quite violent, I will have you know.
Okay, okay. Well, you must
But
excuse.
beautiful.
Uh-huh. Well, you must excuse this mortal being who does not understand quite of what you speak.
It is forgiven.
Uh-huh. So gracious, isn't he, chat? He is so gracious. Um, all right then. Another similar question to what Sasha had. Do you have any like defining memories? What experiences made Set who he is today, personality wise?
I would say, the first time I was ever treated like a being worth speaking to. Uh, it was some time ago now, but I I had been projecting myself into the dreams of those beside my imprisonment,
Mm-hmm.
as you do, and I
As
had
one
met
does.
Flitwick.
Flitwick, huh?
Flitwick was my best friend. Well, is my best friend.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not quite certain what the term's supposed to be when someone dies.
Did I believe at that point it would become past tense?
Very well then. Flitwick was my best friend.
All right. Do you know what those two words mean? Set.
Best friend
Yes.
means someone that you can speak to and they do not run away.
I mean, I suppose technically that's true. Yeah. So what did you guys talk about?
At first, it was a lot of screaming and, well, not for lack of trying on his part, but a bit of a language barrier.
Mm-hmm.
But he was patient and he taught me his letters. I did my best to imitate them. However, he did not like using the local flora and fauna to do it.
How would you use the local flora and fauna to write letters?
Usually by taking them apart and using their bits.
I see. I see. Okay. So
You can
you
definitely see where he'd have trouble with the fun of it.
right?
I think it was an exceptional font. I
Uh-huh.
used a serif.
Okay. Okay.
It's
So
just the problem with the viscera everywhere.
look, Ty, I don't know exactly what I expected him to say. Okay, I'm trying to get to know Set. Try.
Thank you. Not many try.
I can see why.
Forks shoved off the plate onto the floor.
um. So Set, you've made a comment of having grown up somewhere outside our reality.
Yes.
How did you come to be here?
Well, as you do, I was traveling through the cosmos, coming
As you
across
do.
what I might describe as delectable young places.
Mm-hmm.
I was a little hungry, so to speak, and came across your reality.
Mm-hmm.
It seemed quite a snack, and so of course I chose to nibble a little bit. It
Wait,
wasn't going to be a big
wait,
problem.
wait. Are you saying you tried to eat our reality?
Just a little bit.
You have
And
self-control?
I I am very sorry.
Mm-hmm. Anyway, continue.
Well, I just tried to take a nibble, and, well, that may have pissed off the locals.
How so?
Well, the reality I normally inhabit consists of a lot of different planes all violently interacting with one another.
Okay.
The inhabitants had decided to instead throw me into a reality in which no planes were anywhere near them. A veritable void in space and time. Needless to say, it's a terrible, terrible prison.
Mhm.
I, being as powerful and beautiful as I am,
Uh-huh.
have graciously bore a hole within that reality to, well, extend myself here and be in front of you. Metaphorically, we are. Speaking, of course.
Yes. Yes. Okay. Okay. Okay.
So, did you do that to understand why exactly you were sent to that other plane?
Oh,
Why did
heavens, no.
you?
I'm doing this to get out.
Oh.
Ah, what
I
are you
And
going
mean,
to
I
do
love
when you
to
get out?
understand your people more.
mhm.
What are you going to do when you get out?
Well, get on my way, of course.
Do
You
you,
all can fuck right off.
do you still want to eat our reality?
I think it's a bit too spicy.
Well, as long as you don't try and eat us again.
I'll try.
So, Seth, moving right along, from your attempt to eat us all before we were ever born. Um, you've interacted with pretty much everyone in the party at this point, right?
Affirmative?
All right, so we're gonna run through some of your first impressions of everyone. Now, I
Oh
know
no.
you didn't really spend a whole lot of time with anyone just yet, but that's why they're first impressions. Yeah.
I do think that, noble fellow, he was very nice up until he tried to kill us.
Oh, you mean the Marquis?
Yes. Very sweet man. Until he, again, tried to kill us. But
Yeah.
I can't blame him. We were snooping.
Hello, Perry. Not a problem not being able to watch tonight. We're kind of in an intermission episode. We're doing a Q&A with a couple of characters because one of our members was not able to make it tonight. So if you've got to bow out, now's the night to do it. Good luck with what you got to do.
Yeah.
Um, all right, all right. I think you may be the only one who feels that way about the Marquis. But you know, do what you gotta. Also, invoking power of chat to manifest spork for freaky magic being and catnip for Sasha's kitty. I don't think Sasha was. Oh no, Sasha had the metal kitty.
Yeah, the
Sasha has
big
a
metal
metal.
cat.
That's right. Okay. Okay.
Blessed be thy spork.
Power of chat invoked. Congratulations. You
Yeah,
have catnip and a spork.
nice. Wonder what kind of catnip works on a metal cat.
Ship shipping from afar. Have fun. We will. Thank you, Perry. Thanks for dropping in and saying hi. It's good to see you.
Yeah.
Um. Okay. Okay. So the Marquis isn't technically a part of the party, but you know you can have your own opinions. That's great. Um. Da, 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 da. How do you feel about Sasha? Like you've interacted with her some. What are your first thoughts on her?
I am intrigued.
Mhm.
Sasha shows intelligence, which I, well, covet.
Mhm.
As much as I am, how did Flitwick put it? Defective when it comes to understanding your reality.
Mhm.
I do respect those that do.
Okay. So little sidetrack here before we move on to the other members of your party. Do you know what the word defective means?
I was explained that it is, something that's not quite right.
Yeah, that's okay.
Yeah.
That
I thought it
works.
was a fitting description of my actions.
Yeah. No, that works fairly well. Yeah. Okay.
Again, the forks on the plates shoved onto the floor.
Yeah. So that was a moment which I think broke everyone in the party and viewing as well. Um, Definitely something that will be remembered. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Then let's see. Someone actually, I've got a list right here. I'm just gonna go right on down this list. How do you feel about you know who Seth is, right? The canine looking fella?
Ah, yes, yes. The
How
hound.
yes, the hound that you said resembles some ancient god of the hunt that you know.
I'm starting to think I might have been mistaken, but
Uh-huh.
yes.
Okay. Um so what were your aside from the fact that you thought him an ancient god of the hunt, what were your first impressions of him?
Well, my first impression was that he was acting very out of character for a god of the hunt.
Uh-huh.
But then my second one was perhaps he wasn't one.
Uh-huh.
The third one was a confirmation of that confirmation, and so were my fifth and seventh.
What
My
about your
sixth impression was that he was somewhat capable.
Okay. Okay. I think trying to get anything else from there may be a waste of time. So we'll just kind of roll on to our next person then. Um Next on my list up here is Baldwin. He's the fella in the party who challenged the Marquis to an arm wrestling contest.
He's a hardy fellow,
Mhm.
and from what I could tell, has a jolly spirit. I do not know how this would interact with myself.
So Seth over here is just loudly hearing somewhat. Humph. Seth is apparently not happy with your comment that he's only somewhat capable. Do you have a reply to that, Seth? Before we continue with
I
Baldwin?
think it is a fairly accurate description.
He's quite capable. He's just not always made for uh, getting in the middle of a bunch of guards. He's a lot more effective at
Precisely.
stealth and information gathering.
Look,
He is capable, but somewhat capable. Now, should he be, say, 100 leagues underwater, he would not be able to survive. At least, I don't believe so.
I don't know. Seth, would you be able to survive 100 leagues underwater? Just wait for Seth to catch up with us in the video there. Um,
And I don't blame him. He was born with lungs.
I mean, lungs do make it a little more difficult to breathe underwater. Yes, yes, they do. Seth says, "I don't know anyone who would be able to breathe underwater."
Merfolk,
Merfolk.
Okay, like, but I don't think he knows any merfolk. Is the thing.
somewhat capable.
Okay, so Baldwin is a hardy fellow, you say?
Yes, he seems quite jolly. I do not know how it will mesh well with me, but I do wish to know him more.
Okay, that's good. He does seem like a jolly fella, always looking for the challenges and such, which could be great fun in this party, huh?
Perhaps he could teach me a lot about mortal beings.
Yeah,
He
I think he
seems
can.
in tune with his mortality.
He just might be, yeah. Okay. Which brings us to Fina. I believe she is the shortest of the party, always wearing that hood.
He's
The little
the little
one.
one. I am next to a very creaky door. That is the little one.
Yes.
I enjoy the little one, though they are quite strange.
Yeah. How so?
Well, for one, the
The bean, says Ty.
The little bean was very capable of hiding, and I found that quite refreshing.
Mhm.
She also seemed like she would be smart enough to keep a cool head even under bad circumstances.
Which you did find yourself in recently.
Precisely. She is someone to keep around.
Okay. Um. Uh. Do you know who Finley is? He's the human who's always chewing on something.
Yes,
All right. Well, what are your thoughts on him?
he smells of horse.
He smells of horse. Okay.
At least I think he does. I do not actually smell people.
So why would you think he smells of horse then?
He reminds me of one. Clydesdale.
He reminds you of a Clydesdale. How so?
I don't know, they look so much alike.
I'm not sure if Finley should be insulted about that.
They have skin,
That's your basis for comparison? Skin?
and the hay.
what sort of creature do I remind you of in that case?
A human.
Oh.
So Sasha's human and Finley's a horse.
Could
Because
be.
okay. I'm not sure I want to try and unravel this line of thinking unless someone in the chat wants me to, and then we will attempt to dive deep into this association there. Although
Listen, I checked. He does not have hooves. He is not a horse. I know this.
mhm.
He
He
just
just has the
reminds me of.
energy of one.
Yes, a Clydesdale.
They
It's the
are
hay.
okay. Okay. It's the hay. Okay. Um, let's see. We covered how you feel about Sasha, or what you think about Sasha.
I could
Um,
give him a beautiful farm.
could you?
Not really.
Mhm.
Mentally.
Uh huh. Okay. Is this the in the same plane as your flowers of dreams and the screams of innocent?
Adjacent.
Adjacent. Okay. Okay. Um. All right. Moving right along there. How does Set feel about Rogaire?
Conflicted.
Okay. How so?
He has a strong personality and a tendency to lead. I am apprehensive.
Okay.
And not a follower, I would assume.
Not necessarily that I'm not a follower, it's just I tend to not trust leaders. Those in authority tend to try to abuse the power of those around them. He has not given me reason not to trust him, so I have trusted him. But I am weary around those in control.
Okay. So why do you trust the Marquis then? He is definitely in a position of power.
He laughed and clapped me on the back when we first met.
And that's enough to alleviate your suspicion of those in power.
He seemed cheery.
Okay.
He respected me as though I was normal.
Okay. Fair enough. Okay, fair enough. Which I believe that leaves us with only Anna left. Which again you did not spend a whole lot of time with. She was kind of there and gone, and then there and gone again. She's the blonde person who was there when you all woke up.
She wears the robes of someone who worships a deity, does she not?
Yes, she does.
What is the symbolism of these robes?
She's a healer. She heals those who are injured.
And is there any particular symbol that represents your god or goddess?
Yes, she does wear that symbol.
Earth, I think?
Yeah,
Goddess of
Ert.
Unity?
Ert. Yep. Eart. God, the goddess of unity.
Well, if it's not one that I recognize,
No.
which I do not believe I do,
No.
um, I am
It was
weary.
explained to us.
Yes, I am weary of clerics in general
Mhm.
and the religious, as I do not have the best relationship with celestials.
Okay. So you're gonna be giving Anna space then.
Maybe not a ton of space because we have to work together, but I am keeping her at a distance.
Okay. Fair enough. That's fair enough. Um. So you mentioned that you had a friend, and that he's dead now. Yes.
Yes. Flitwick.
Flitwick. Would you say that there's anyone else you're particularly close to?
I've made a few friends in my travels, but no one that I would say I'm, um, well, severely attached to anymore. I unfortunately have aged out of Flitwick's care,
Mhm.
and he thought it was best I try traveling on my own. The servants from the estate did still like me, and they promised to write, though now that I think about it, I did not give them an address.
That does kind of stop someone from being able to contact you.
Perhaps they meant for me to write to them.
Maybe that would let them know where you were.
I would say they are the closest thing I have to a family currently. Though Flitwick did give me some pointers and a mission to try to befriend more individuals in the world.
Okay. So you're on a mission to make friends then.
I wouldn't say that, but Flitwick would.
Okay. Okay. So how does one go about starting a friendship in Seth's opinion?
Step one was communicate.
Mhm.
Step 1A was to try not to frighten them.
Okay.
Step
That
1B was to stop and wonder how what you're doing is frightening them.
Okay.
Step 1C is to stop doing whatever you're doing that keeps frightening them.
Okay.
Step 1D is find out what else you're doing that's frightening them.
Mhm.
This continues on for some time.
I can imagine that. Yeah. Is there a step 2, or do you just
Yes,
get stuck on step 1? Mhm.
Step two is once they are finally calm enough to speak with you,
Uh huh.
that you allow your intentions to be made known. You come in peace and mean no harm to the individual.
Are those the words you use?
Approximately.
Does that ever work with in alleviating their concerns?
I haven't made many friends, no.
Okay. Okay. So the people you're traveling with now don't seem that afraid of you.
Precisely. I shall try to speak with them.
Okay. Are you glad they're not frightened of you?
I do not know.
Okay. Okay. So you gave us your definition of what a best friend is a little earlier.
Yes,
Someone who will talk with you and not scream and run away.
precisely.
Is that different than what you would say just normal friendship is?
I do not understand the question.
Okay. So do you see a difference between a friend and a best friend?
Uh, um, I do not understand the question. I've only ever had best friends.
You've had more than one?
best. Oh.
Well, Flitwick's servants, they were my best friends as well.
Okay.
They would talk with me and treated me like a good person. This
Okay.
met the criteria.
Okay. So I do admit myself a little confused. So when I first introduced you, I called you a person, and you took exception to that because you didn't like being called that. And yet you just called yourself a person.
There's a key difference.
Mhm.
Treating me like a person and calling me a person are two different things.
Okay. Okay, that's fair enough, I suppose. That's fair enough, I suppose. Um so Set. Have you ever been involved in a war?
I've been involved in many wars, yes.
Mhm. In this reality?
Yes.
All right. Do you have any particular thoughts or feelings regarding war?
Well, I was never really an active member of the wars.
Mhm.
Mostly passive and or manipulated and or used.
Oh. Okay. But
If anything, it's quite hurtful actually. I
mhm.
was basically just used for my abilities and, well, regarded as an item.
Okay. Okay. But you got away from all of those people who would do that.
Yes, precisely.
Okay.
Flitwick helped me.
So you seem to be an entity of great power. Yeah?
I would like to think so.
Yeah. And you've been here for a while.
I would like to think so.
Okay. Um how accurate is your knowledge of the passage of time?
Skewed, at best.
That's fair enough. That's fair enough. Okay.
How well do you keep track of mortal time, let's say?
I can experience it passing, but don't really have a frame of reference for the feeling it causes.
Okay. Okay. That's fair enough. Um all right. So that was all the questions I had for Set. And a few that I didn't expect to have until he spoke. Um but let's see, if is there anyone in chat who has a question for either Set or Sasha? Now's the time to ask it. If no one has a question, we'll go ahead and move on to something else. I have noises. Shh. So what the only other thing we have planned for tonight is at the end of last session, Sasha, Sasha got a dream that, if I recall correctly, disturbed her, but she doesn't remember.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
And while Sasha might not remember it, that doesn't mean it didn't happen. So tonight we're gonna go ahead and let these two reveal what happened in the dream via,
Okay.
well, roleplay.
Yeah.
Uh,
So, Sasha, if you don't mind, I would like you to set your nightmare scene.
All right. The darkness is complete, and there are whispers in it, vague voices that cannot be distinguished from one another, other than the fact that there are many. And the words that they're saying are lost. Sasha herself is trapped in a space smaller than her body can stand or stretch out. And there are chains around her wrists, holding them out to the sides, and she can't reach them in order to unlock them. She knows that the voices are people who are coming for her. She knows that the darkness is so complete she won't be able to see them coming. And the only thing she can see in front of her is an eclipsed sun that isn't illuminating anything.
This, ladies and gentlemen, is what happens when you give the writer the ability to set their own scene. Okay, that was. Yep, that's a nightmare, all right. I will definitely agree with that.
Yeah.
Alright, Set, what happens?
So you're completely restrained.
Yes.
Is it a cage or are you tied?
Both. Chained to a cage.
The world rumbles, and there's a twitch through the sky. You notice that sun almost resembles an eye staring back at you. And hear a voice from within your skull. Try to be soothing, though I'm sure it's anything but. Calm yourself. The least calming words in any language.
I'm fighting. I'm fighting to get free again. Yes. Someone
Seek
tells you to be
peace
calm.
and gaze upon me. Focus yourself away from your dream and back into yourself.
What?
This
What?
seems rather disappointing. I'm unsure of if you will be able to focus beyond your current circumstances.
Who are you?
It is
What do
I,
you want?
Set. I'm here to ask you a question. A request, if you will.
What question?
Could you do me the honor of creating another mask for me? I have the gold and the coin.
And you'll get me out of here.
Well, so to speak. Not tonight, at least.
Why not? I can't make anything for you if I can't get out.
Mentally, you do not seem strong enough to grasp what I'm trying to teach you. It takes years for someone to learn to control the space.
You talk down to everyone. To call us mortals. Of course, we're not going to fill whatever standards you're trying to.
Worry
A
not. I can
mask.
check in the next few nights. We can work at it until you are, oh, you say, mentally whole.
A mask. You want a mask.
Yes,
Because
to hide
you
my
lost the mask
face. Yes,
that you had.
precisely.
You say this place isn't real?
No, merely a figment of your own imagination. If you
So
had the willpower,
voices.
you would open your own cage.
So the voices are not real.
No. Well, at least my voice is. I don't feel the presence of any of my siblings.
Siblings?
Yes. Don't worry about them, though. The likelihood of one of them interacting with your reality is very slim.
Okay.
And even if they did, you would be gone in an instant, so nothing to worry about.
So a mask. You want a mask. Do you want it to look the same? Or what?
I do not know. Flitwick made me the other mask. Is it an insult to request one of similar design? Oh, he did not really like my outer mask. He said it was not as pretty as my face.
Huh. I don't know what your face looks like without the mask, so I don't
Why,
think
you're staring at it. My
What?
true, beautiful form, laid bare before you.
Um,
It is okay, I've turned down my own gaze. You can gaze upon me and not fear for your own mind's sanity.
I wasn't aware that was a danger. Thank you.
Flitwick did inform me of how rude that could be.
Ah, I suppose the mask, that it may or may not be rude to reproduce the same one. It depends on who made it and why. Who is this flip?
This
Focus
is
on.
a strange place you've chosen to hang out in.
I don't think she chose it.
I wouldn't choose to be here.
It hardly seems pleasant.
It isn't. Can we
Have you ever
please
spent
talk
time in
about
the
the mask?
library?
What?
Have you ever spent time in a library?
Yes, from time to
An
time.
office with a fire?
We were just in one.
Me and Flitwick used to imagine one of those many times when we'd have our
Oh,
conversations.
excuse me.
Um, I don't think I can focus on that. The mask. Let's focus on that. The mask you want.
Oh, yes, yes. It is quite exciting to speak to an artificer again. I do believe you might be able to do what I'm asking. It does not require any ritualistic usage, merely a proper image to replace my own visage.
Yeah, I'll need a forge if you want another metal one. You said you had metals?
Yes, I have a large accumulation of gold coin. I have no use for the gold, and, well, I was taught that one of the most useful ways to carry it with me was to melt it and put it into my own clothing.
Ah,
For some reason, you humans are obsessed with collecting it.
we use it for trade it for goods because it's status symbol.
Well, that's absurd.
The limited quantity or theoretical limited quantity of it. People are always trying to find ways to make more of it. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't.
But you're saying I need to find you a forge.
There are forges all over. I just need time in one.
Perfect. And tomorrow I will
Uninterrupted
go in
time
search
in
of a
one.
forge. Once I have found a proper forge for you, I will contact you again, asking again for
If
this
I'm
transaction.
asleep, if
What's
I'm
that?
asleep and I wake up, we're still going to be in the town with the marquee. I don't think I can do it here.
Uh, yeah, oh yeah, this is happening when you're in town. Okay.
Yeah.
That is a smart course of action. Perhaps we should wait until after we leave.
Yeah. So, and you should not go out there looking for Forge tomorrow or
I
whenever
do not
I might
believe
be
I
out.
could be inconspicuous.
I know that Russ said you have talents being unnoticed, but I think it's a bit of an ask in a place where we're supposed to be dead.
Is that what we're supposed to be?
That's generally why people get stabbed and then left in a ditch outside of town.
Interesting. I shall have to make note of this.
They are counting on our mortality to get rid of us, so we can't talk to anyone.
That
Obviously,
would do
that
it.
didn't work.
Well, very well then. Shall I leave you back to it? You did seem rather, well, comfortable being tortured.
Stay, please.
Mood.
Very well then. What shall we speak of? I did just read a new book.
What did you read?
I lied.
Oh,
I'm sorry, that was a jest.
you
Flitwick
said.
did not like me reading his books.
Oh, you. Tell me about Flitwick. You said he was an artificer?
Yes, he lived on a large estate somewhere, well, I haven't really the clue in relation to where we are now. But, he picked me up and, well, after a few years living under his roof, I was able to contact him in his sleep, much like how we're doing right now. It took quite a few more years before we were able to really establish communication, but he then was able to produce a body for me. I was able to stand on my own 2 feet, so to speak. It was rather exciting.
Would it be rude to ask what you would have liked before?
Mostly a projected mass of energy. Also a dark stone. Though Flitwick did tell me I'm not supposed to mention that to people. Said it could get messy.
Huh.
Something along those lines. Not that I blame him. Plenty of people have died around the stone. But then again, it is also my heart.
Well, I can honestly say I don't want it.
Thank you. That means a lot to me. But I was talking about Flitwick. Flitwick did not want my heart either. He actually bought it as a... Wait! It was insulting! He left me on his counter. 10 years it took. Finally did I weasel myself out and start haunting his nightmares. Turns out I was in the wrong.
Ah,
I did
well,
like...
if your form then was a dark stone, people probably couldn't understand what it was supposed to be, or what it was supposed to mean.
Yes, not a lot of people did. Unfortunately, those that originally understood seem to have all either died or been lost with age. Don't get me started on my cult.
Cult?
Long story short, just if you meet anyone who's brandishing my name, just let them know it's in vain.
I think if I run into someone brandishing your name and realize they're a cult, I think I'm just going to want to turn around and walk away.
Oh, don't do that. That's a sign of aggression.
Okay. What should
Don't
I
stare
do
them in the
then?
eyes either.
Then what would be the way to not engage or accidentally display a sign of aggression?
if you wish to truly placate yourself before them, depending on which region, the most common form of vacation for a group is for one of your party members to cut off their tongue and, well, offer it as a snack. If they eat it and if they enjoy it, then you're allowed free passage.
Sorry, I've just heard my roommate across the room react to that.
Um,
I believe his reaction was the fuck.
Yeah, it came through on your side.
Oh, it did. Lovely.
yeah.
I didn't teach it to them. You mortals came up with this on your own. I have nothing to do with it. Like I said, in vain. I don't hear their prayers.
Okay.
Not a bloody celestial.
I think I would probably just run away anyway. Even if they take it as a sign of aggression, because I wouldn't want to do that. Or expect that from anyone in the group.
Well, they don't really matter. We're talking about Flitwick.
Yes. Yes, your friend Flitwick.
I do like Flitwick. I liked Flitwick. It's very strange when you creatures die.
We tend to use past tense for that because, well, it's more the fact that we can't interact with them anymore.
Yes, I get that, but it's quite strange.
What's strange?
The finality of it all. You just live knowing you're going to die.
Death comes to everything. Unless they have some way that they're holding it off because of what they are or what they've done to hide from whatever it is that claims souls when they die.
I like you.
Why?
You're chipper.
That was Chipper.
Believe me, not everyone is this somber the first time I meet them. Mostly it's just screaming. I think it means you have a little
Screaming
bit of
draws
strangeness
attention.
about you.
Screaming draws too much attention. And attention can be very, very bad.
You need help out of this cage.
Yes. Wait, you said it was a dream. If I wake up, I won't be in the cage. I won't be in the cage. I won't. The cage won't be there. I won't have been caught. I'll be fine.
Yes, just keep repeating that to yourself until you wake up.
Okay.
You might be here a while.
And so the night passes, with Sasha talking to herself and Set occasionally distracting her with nonsense. And when she wakes up in the morning, she doesn't remember the dream. She just remembers terror and confusion. And more terror, and a little bit of annoyance.
And then
more terror.
Set shows up and drops off a pile of gold at the end of my bed.
For what we talked about last night.
Except Sasha.
What? You will have to refresh my memory.
You were a bit tied up at the moment, but you did manage to speak to me about creating a new mask.
Oh, okay. I'll need a forge for that. And
This
What's
I know.
up? What down here?
I've been looking for one. I should ask our guide if they know of any in the direction we're headed.
Okay.
To which Set would go and find
Yes.
whoever's in charge and be like, is there a forge anywhere?
Oh, there's forges everywhere.
Outside of the city?
In most cities, yeah.
And if there's one along the way towards wherever we're headed, can we make sure this goes there?
Not immediately, but your destination after that, there should be one.
Perfect. In the meantime, I will just remain veiled.
Great.
Sasha would come and check with you. The gold is for payment? Or why the gold?
Payment and materials.
You want the mask made out of gold?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, I can do that.
Okay. So that's what happened the night that we kind of just skipped over because we were running a little short on time that night. And those are the questions we had for both Sasha and Set. Our next session, which should be an actual session, all things considered. Our next session will be November 20th. Yes, November 20th. That's in 2 weeks. And there you will be able to join Sasha and Set and Baldwin and Anna and Seth and Gregor and Fina and Finley as they continue on to the next leg of their adventure. Woo! Um, so, thank you for joining us today, Sasha and Set. Should we have other characters that can't make it in later episodes or sessions, we'll be trying to do this again with other characters, preferably ones that we haven't talked to yet, so that you can get to know all of our lovely cast. That being said, once we get through all of them, or even most of them, I do have other ideas for ways to fill out intermission episodes should they be necessary. My goal is to not miss a week or a stream of this campaign, even if other things need to happen around it, in it, and such like that. All right, so thank you, viewers, for coming and watching and interacting with us. I know it was a very short stream tonight, but yeah.
It was fun.
It was fun. We got to know the characters a bit more. We got to experience something that we couldn't fully flesh out in session.
Got to experience Set.
And you got to experience Set. And boy, is he an experience.
Yes.
And you get to look forward to more of him in The Order of Dusk, Episode 3. Alright. Thanks again, guys, for stopping in and chatting with us. And we hope to see you next time. Catch you in the next stream.
Bye.